Well, this is Baruch at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and I'm coming here right now to say the final share in the first chapter of Likutei Maharan. And to me, it's like really, really refreshing because I haven't been here in a long time. I've been learning a lot of Sod in other directions. Maybe there's some of the places that the Rebbeinu Kodesh Rabbi Nachman saw when he was just a little kid. I came by his house. He was a very developed child. At any rate, what we've been hearing here is Rabbi Nachman is really telling us how to create miracles. Question is that what miracles exactly are we talking about? So he wants to talk about how to get your prayers answered. Sometimes those prayers are very difficult. Sometimes that is the situation in which you find yourself. Now let's just look at something. There's a really cute little piece that's coming over here with Rava Baba Chana. These are Gemaras and Baba Basra. This particular one that we're about to see, and it's right in front of us now, is Baba Basra Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph. So these are the stories that are told by this rabbi, Rabbi Baba Chana. Now, let me just give you an idea about what I think that is the meat of what Rabbi Nachman is saying. He says that you have to be able to look at the seichel, which is the chokhmah that's in everything. Because everything that happens is seichel. So he says this chokhmah is very important to connect to it. So you could take the flower child approach, and you'll say contemplate on a flower. You'll say like that. And there certainly is tremendous beauty in a flower. But could you find the godliness, the seichel, in a situation that's not so beautiful? Like, for example, you were an older person, something been bothering you, go to the doctor. And then the doctor says that he wants to do tests. And then you know that the tests are going to be painful. And you know that maybe you're not going to like the results of what comes out to the test. Now, is Rabbi Nachman saying that in this situation, this is where you will find the seichel? Because he's telling us that all of the things that happen to us and that we see and that we perceive in this world are based on this seichel. Now, that's a thought that you have to see, that somehow the situation, I just chose the doctor because I went to a doctor. But let's just say that there's so many other places that you could look at. You get a letter, you're in business, you get a letter from the IRS. Or you haven't heard from all your children for a long time and you find out something that you didn't want to know. Is it possible that there's a seichel b'chol davar? That in this thing as well there's a seichel? And then if there is, and in fact that there's God behind everything that's happening in the world, and now this is the place you need to tune in, how do you do it? Well, this is where Rabbi Baba Chana is coming. It's just like a heavy Aramaic. And we'll do some translating and try to see if we can understand the Rebbe's message. He said, "V'zeh pirish masha amar Rabba Baba Chana." This is where the Likutei Maharan starts. And I told you it's in Baba Basra. It says, "Hi Gala the Matbel the Sefinta." A wave came along and sank the ship. Mischaziki tu tzutzitza. It looks like a spark. The nurachivarte of a white flame. The Resha on its head. So let me just go over the words again, because this, it's crazy. He says there's a wave that came and sank the ship, and when you looked at it, there was a spark of white light that was at its head. And what do you do about this wave that sinks the ship? You strike it with an avlasa, which is another word he's going to say for a staff. The chokek olay that's carved on that staff, Akya, I will be, Asher Akya. Now I want you to know that I see from Rabbi Shimon and from the Rav, that the word Akya, which we see Moshe says Akya shel Akya, he said that right? It really means potential. Is that even though that what you see coming out now, what it looks like to you now, either could be false or else it could be, which he's going to explain, or else it could be wrong or right. Whatever it would be, it has the potential. There is an energy behind it that will manifest itself. I hope I can explain this. So now he says over here, just we should look at that. The Rashbam has the Pirush on the Baba Basra. And he says, Norech Ivurta, he says this white fire, Eish Levana, white fire, Umalach Maziku. but it represents, and usually whiteness in Kabbalah always means chesed or rahmanas. Here he says, but this white fire that we talk about here is a damaging, a destroying angel. Now let's see what the Rav says, what actually the Rebbe Nachman says. Galo hu ha-Yetzer Hara. He says this wave is the Yetzer Hara. The metaba, the sevinta, hu macha, hu ha-chen v'ha-chashivus. And it comes and it sinks the chen, the glory, or the grace, and the importance of the Jewish people, lashon, safan, v'chashuv. It comes to bring us down. Ki ha-Yetzer Hara rotze lahadbia v'lahashbil chas v'sholem. The main thing that the Yetzer Hara wants to do is make us look like we're little. Lahadbir, lahashbil, to sink us, to cause us to go down, chas v'sholem. Bechinas hachein, would lose this, the chein that we have in our chashivas of us. Bechinas malchus, the gedusha, that is, what is that we are attached to the malchus of Olam Atzilos, which is totally kadosh. Then it says, so he says, so this, how do you do this? If we're attached to this Kedusha, then how is it that you're going to actually separate for us from it? So he says, well, here's how you do it. You make an appearance as if you are, the words are, the nur chivor tevaresha, that we have a white sparkling light on our head, which is like a knight in shining armor. So the Yetzer Hara comes along, and he's the knight in shining armor. Because when he comes first, the Yetzer Hara comes, and he clothes himself in mitzvah. So you have to do this, and you have to do that. So, and he starts tricking people, as if he's telling them, and this is in our lives, and you have to think about this in terms of a life that is in pressure. Because we live in a world of pressure. This is not Valhalla over here. This is Olam Hazeh, Olam Asiyah. He says that they want to, as if they have a mitzvah that they need you to do because it's for a good cause. This is the secret of the spark of white light, of white fire, Eish Levana. That even though it looks like white, which we said is the color of the mitzvah, it's the color of Eric Anpen, it's the color of pure mercy. Even so, it's not. So what do we do about it? Hainu. So he says, this translator says, we hit it with a staff, which is like the letter Vav. That this staff has the chokik alei, which is carved on it, Akya sher Akya. So you have to hit it with this staff. So he said, what does he mean? Hainu sheikar hakna'aso shalta Yetzer Hara. How do you humble, get control of the Yetzer Hara? Hu ayidei Torah. It's through learning Torah. Shehi kula shemos shel Kodesh Baruch Hu, which is complete names of Hashem. All of it is the name of Hashem. And the Torah is the concept of Vav. It's the middle line. Notice how he spells it, Vav ala Vav. He says, haluchos arkan Vav, Vav, Barocha Vav. Because if you look at the luchos, which are the doorway into all the mystery, the whole phenomenon of the Torah, they're actually Vavs. Vav one way, Vav another way. The Zeba Bechinas Avlas Adachaina Maklo. So this is the concept of the staff, or the stick, or the rod. What's the right word? Pole. The Hainu Maklos. The Chokik Alei Akya. Then it said, the Rabbi Babachana said that it has a carving in it. The name Akya is carved on it. So you have this Vav, and this Vav has a carving on it that says Akya. Hainu Shemos, that it puts his name on it. Bechinas HaTorah. It puts the Torah and all that's hidden within the Torah, you have to smash it. Shehi Bechinas Vav, which is the concept of this Vav. Now Vav, if you listen to the morning shir, you could darshan it like this. It's Vav, 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 and a Yud in the middle of them. Where's the Yud come from? Well, the Yud comes from Chachma, comes into the Vav. And it lifts it up and it makes it very powerful. V'havayehi tzuras makel. So let's say like this, Yud K Vav K is usually the name that is the name that is designated to be manifest in Zer Anpin who is a line, which is the concept of a staff. So he said, so this carving, Akya, means to say that the potential within me, hidden within me, is tremendous, that it has all the names of Hashem Yisbarach. So he said, what are we talking about? That is the Torah itself. He who machnas as a Yetzirah. Let me get this back where you can see it, sorry. It's the Torah itself. The Torah represents the middle line. The middle line is the Vav. So the Torah represents, that is the way to subjugate the Yetzirah. Sherotza la'asos says Adam Meshuga mamish chash v'sholem, because what the Yetzirah wants to do is make you crazy. Ki bala aveira hu meshuga, because he says that a person that does an aveira, and he names the specific types of aveiras, that person is crazy. You have to be crazy to do that. It's off the derech. Kamosha Amar Rizal, the Rizal, this Gemara in Saita, Ein Adam over Elaim came niknas bo ruach shtos. Person would never leave the Torah unless he was guided out with some kind of a ruach of nonsense. So this we don't do, but you have to. In other words, if you're actually crazy, they put you in an institution. So the actual words are, you have to smite them, in other words, hit them. So they don't hit them, but they give them shots today. They give them shots and pills and all different kinds of things that make you come back for more tests, and keep coming back and coming back. That's what they do. V'lasim aleichem shemos, and then diagnosis. Or prosecution. He said many different ways. Kamo kein mamish. So this is the way it goes. Ha-Torah she'oskim. The Torah itself, so we deal with Torah. Hiba b'chidas maklov v'shemos. So instead of what you would get, the different kinds of curses that could come out of the worst situations, you can actually strike the worst situation with your Torah. Maklos v'shemos. Shebezerah makin umachniim as a Yetzirah. Because with this staff, the staff of Torah, which has all the names within it, every single one of every word in the Sefer Torah is a part of the name of Hashem. So margishin min adam as hashigoyim, and you're able to feel, cause it to be sensed within the man, the shigoyim v'haruach shtos sheniknas bo that came into him. So that is to say, that if you know who you are, and that you've been off the derech, and now you come and you pour yourself, you beat yourself with the Torah. So you now make different kinds of organizations so that you could be involved in the Torah all as possible. This is the staff that beats the Yetzirah. The Chakik Alei Shemos, that all the names of Hashem are in that Torah. Now let's go back to the original statement. Happy are the pure in their path. And I say pure, another word is innocent, to be innocent. Ashrei, Lashon Histaklos. So he says, what is Ashrei? It's a Lashon seeing something, looking. Temimi Derech, Bechinas V'Yakov Ish Tam, Yaakov, Shehu Bechinas Seichel. So once again, we're coming back to Histaklos, Seichel, looking at the Seichel that's in called David. This is what the Rebbe is saying. The person who sees his path, and he sees the seichel in the path. Because little things are the process of seeing small aspects, that's the process of small-mindedness. But by working on the Torah, a person can expand his consciousness. That is to be able to be refined, or to be worthy of. To be able to look at the seichel that is the Torah that's in everything. Shehu bechinas Yaakov ish tam, which is the concept of Yaakov, who is a pure man. What is the tam? What I mean again? Zochim ayedech Torah. This is the man who uses the Torah to build himself up. Holchim b'Torahs Hashem, and this is the concept of those who travel with the Torahs of Hashem. Ki mi shelomed Torah b'koyach. Person puts his energy, his heart and soul into the learning of Torah. That gives that person power. The malchus the gedusha. I said it wrong, so let me read it again. Pirish Shalomed Torah b'koach, a person that learns Torah and puts his energy into it. This gives the strength of the Malchus the Kedusha to be able to mate, so to speak, and create a yichud with their anpin. As a result of everything we're doing down here to learn Torah and continue to try to be davek as much as we can, this builds up the Malchus of Kedusha. And he said, and it makes her into the Bechinas Nun that we said before, Lakabel Menasechel, Shubel Bechinas Ches, so that Nun can now receive all the Shefa that is coming down to it. And that's how you create Chen. Chen means that somebody likes what you say. Who's the somebody? None other than a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And this is what causes the grace and the glory of the people, of the Jewish people, and our importance in the world to grow. So he says in all the questions, I think that's hatfilos, that's the word. Hatfilos in all of the prayers, v'habakashas of the things you seek, niskablet. They're all received. This is Baruch Fleischman. That's the first Torah of Likutei Maharan that we're going back over here with a little Kabbalistic view as much as we can, keeping it simple. This is Baruch Fleischman.